think whichever makes me money. That would be my favorite.
Honesty is the best policy here.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Chatterbox. Today we're going to be chatting about cryptocurrency and NFTs, which seem to be a pretty hot topic these days. I'm your host Isabel, and I'll let our guests introduce themselves. Let's start with you, Rebecca.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca. I'm one of the co-founders of Gendora. I also run Chapter 3, which manages Web3 projects, and we do content mainly to educate the audience about Web3.
Hi, my name is Valinda. I'm the co-founder of Avatar. We are a blockchain wallet company that aims to bridge the Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. I'm also the Singapore representative of Women in Blockchain Asia, where we try to empower women through the power of blockchain.
Hey, I'm Jay, and I own an NFT bar and lounge here in Singapore. And I'm also co-founder of Metaverse, that is spelled METT. And we are a Web3 consultancy, and we help translate brands to the Metaverse.
What is your favorite cryptocurrency and NFT currently?
Ethereum, because I'm in the NFT space and very supportive in the ETH chain and projects under ETH. NFT, I'm pretty neutral. I think whichever makes me money. That would be my favorite.
Honesty is the best policy here.
Yeah.
Similar, like in terms of, I like Ethereum, but I do like some of the newer chains also. So I'm into like Avalanche, I'm into Clayton, and I'm into Polygon. So I feel like these are the alternate ecosystem that people can build on. And NFT, I think it's very emotional. So you see it, you like it, and then you just buy it. So I think my recent buy is just something more obscure, like called Kiwamis. So it's a bit tier 2, but it's like I don't like to have the same thing as everyone else.
Special.
Okay.
For myself, of course, Ethereum, but as well as Solana, because it's way more affordable. And what I usually do would be to buy the blue chips, and then I just, diamond hands, I hold them I'm gonna be holding them for a while, and then receiving the free airdrops that come along with these projects, which then people bid as high as like 20 ETH for something, for like a freebie that I received, and then I can then sell, that freebie for maybe 20 ETH and earn some money there.
Some of our audience members may not know much about cryptocurrency or NFTs, so for this segment, we're going to explain a little bit more about this. First, we're going to explain some common terms in the cryptocurrency and NFT space. Let's start with, what is ETH?
Ethereum. Ethereum is actually a project that's built on blockchain. It's also a cryptocurrency where you can trade on the exchange or different platforms. Usually people use ETH to buy NFTs or maybe anything that is in ETH unit.
Next, we're going to go into WAGMI, which I don't think is pronounced like that.
This is an easy one.
I actually wrote a song called WAGMI. It's called it means we're all gonna make it. So, it's a crypto slang. It's used to have everyone feel like we're all gonna be a success, we're all gonna make bag and do well in this space.
Okay. Next, what is DAO?
So DAO actually means Decentralized Autonomous Organization in its entire form. In most entity right now, it's through a central organization who decide on like things to do, what do you do, so in terms of our company, you have the management. Instead of issuing shares to a centralized group of bodies, people can buy into what we call a DAO coin, and then with the DAO coin, they are a part of the organization that makes the decision on behalf of this decentralized organization. The amount of coins I have, I can make a vote. And then with the voting system, then we'll say that, hey, I propose that we invest in this project, or say that we should maybe create our own projects.
What is HODL?
Hold on to dear life.
We love acronyms in the crypto and NFT scene, clearly. Why is it spelled like this?
There's actually a story behind. I don't exactly recall what exactly the story is. I think the person was drunk or something. Just typo down or something along those lines. Yeah.
So it was meant to say hold.
Yeah.
Yes. like during the bear market, just hold, because it's paper loss, because there's a chance of climbing back up. But if you solve it, that's it.
As most things on the internet, once a typo will always remain a typo forever. We're gonna be playing a short game called This or That. The paddles that you're holding each have a green side and a pink side. Now I'll be giving you two options, tell you which one is green, which one is pink. I'll count down 3, 2, 1, and on 1, you're gonna show the camera and the audience which side you think is better. You ready? Green for fiat currency and pink for cryptocurrency. Which do you prefer in 3, 2, 1? That was not a surprise to anybody. All right, green for CryptoPunk and pink for Bored Ape Yacht Club. Everyone's ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, the ladies are into Bored Ape Yacht Club and Jay's into CryptoPunk. Green for Every Day's the First 5,000 Days NFT, or pink for a Picasso painting. 3, 2, 1. Oh, what can you tell us about that NFT?
I think it is the first NFT that has hit like worldwide recognition. So I think to me that is a milestone in the whole entire NFT crypto space. So like there could be a lot of Picasso paintings, but you know, there's only one series of this happening.
Oh, interesting choice. All right. Green for stablecoins and pink for altcoins. 3, 2, 1. What is the difference between stablecoins and altcoins?
Okay, so stablecoins is usually tagged to a fiat currency. Like for example, the USD, it's really being used like as cash kind of thing, like in the cryptocurrency space. But altcoins is really dependent on the project. So different projects have their own coins that is used for different purposes. So you can think like, for example, for Grab, they have Grab Credit is used for that ecosystem. So altcoin can be like in-game currency for the blockchain games. It's really meant to be built in like that for that purpose.
Green for music NFTs and pink for video game item NFTs. 3, 2, 1. Oh, what is your favorite music NFT?
There aren't many music NFTs right now, so I don't actually have a favorite, but I'm trying to figure out what would make a good music NFT as a musician myself, and so that's what I'm exploring right now.
I did hear recently, not recently, it came out a while back, that the Rick Astley music video, Never Gonna Give You Up, is being turned into an NFT. Is that counted as a music NFT?
I guess so.
Would you buy that NFT?
No.
Jay is gonna give that up, I guess. Sad. What do you guys consider as video game item NFTs?
So moving forward, I'm not sure how the P2E ecosystem will be like. Perhaps because the item is built on a blockchain, maybe if you were to get involved or participate in another blockchain gaming, it can be transferable over to another game and you can actually use the inventory or the item itself in another game. That would be quite cool. For example, the items from MapleStory, you can transfer to, I don't know, some Pokemon game. It's like, hey, so people will be like, oh, where do you get this from? Oh, I got it from MapleStory.
Oh, that would be so cool. All right, down to our last This or That. Green for physical art or pink for digital art. In 3, 2, 1. Why did you pick physical art over digital art?
Can feel it. I mean, I know that I'm involved in the space. Some of the NFT projects, they do mail it to your doorstep, the physical item, for example, a figurine.
Okay, good to hear that there's a little bit of a difference here. Now we're gonna move on to a couple of questions that some of our audience members may ask. So let's explain them in like layman terms, simple terms I, as a noob, can understand. What exactly is blockchain?
What is cryptocurrency? Is actually a digital asset that is built on the blockchain technology. So every transactions, they will like group into like a block. So each transactions that come in, they group into another block. So there will be a chain of block, hence the term called blockchain.
You think of it of like a bit of the Google Sheets.
Okay,
Sure,
that helps.
Yeah, so
I
like,
know
you know,
what
you
that
think
looks
about it as a Google Sheet, right? It's like a bit of like, a more official term we call it a digital ledger, which is more of like, is a sheet that help you kind of record all the transactions that's happening. So imagine it's a Google Sheet that everything that's added on of it is only by authorized people. And these authorized people are really like decentralized, so you can't just change something off the Excel sheet and say that now you own like 20 Bitcoin.
Yeah, so to add on top of it, how does the transaction comes in is behind there's like this very complex mathematical equation to verify the transaction. Then once it's verified, then there's a block created. So for Excel sheet, you can always undo and reverse, but on blockchain it's irreversible. If you want to do so, you will need a lot of people to verify or to concur to reverse it, and that will take up a lot of energy, and which makes it very expensive to do so.
How does cryptocurrency work?
So you can think of it like your digital coins, like your Grab credits. So Grab credits that you can transfer it online, right? But for blockchain cryptocurrency, it's slightly different in the sense that they are controlled by, they're not controlled by anyone. It's like through this thing what we call consensus, like on the ledger, right? Like, hey, I just transfer A to B. Somehow the network has the mathematical formula, and then they solve it and say that yes, okay, we approve your transaction, and then this go onto the blockchain.
When I was doing a little bit of research on cryptocurrency, I came across the word mining a lot. How do you do this? How do you mine cryptocurrency? I imagine it's not the same as like mining a diamond in a cave.
I think similar, it's just that you let the brain work. You leave it to the digital to do so, or the tech to do so.
Yeah, you have to dedicate your computing power, and your computing power has to solve these complex mathematical questions in order to process the transactions that are required. New crypto is mined, and then the miners get to keep that reward because in exchange for their computing power to process transactions.
But are you doing any actual human work into it, or are you just letting a computer run the whole thing?
The computer is running the whole thing for you.
And the human maintain the computer.
Yeah. We just...
You pay more to compute more.
So the more computers you have, the more computing power you have, and the higher probability of you solving the code. So this is why miners actually put in a lot of money into making the network safe, and the mining farm, the mining pools. So if you want to be part of it, you can also have your own mining computers. But I think right now it's quite expensive.
Very difficult now. The equations you have to solve is so difficult. Not like in the beginning where you could just use your laptop. Now you need dedicated computers just to mine.
Is that why graphics cards are so expensive nowadays? It's because people are mining crypto?
Yes, actually. I think the price of it went up 2 times during its peak, just because you're using crypto, people are buying a lot of GPUs just to mine.
And get a hold of them.
That was my struggle.
Sorry to the gamers.
I have a friend who actually, booked a co-working space.
Ooh, illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal, no.
Illegal. Paste all the newspaper, cover it up, and then that's his Bitcoin mining farm. Because you rent the space, right? You let the AC run, the AC is paid by the place. He just paid the rental, which is very smart. Every time I walk past, there's this motor sound going around.
It's very loud.
Really loud.
It sounds like kind of like a, it's like a server room.
Yeah, then fast forward. So we were having this conversation, and then he was like, oh, last time I used to work at this space or co-working space, and oh, so it was you.
I tried to find a place for my mining project, but I guess I was a bit late to the game, so all the landlords kind of knew what was up.
What are the biggest differences between using crypto and fiat currency or real cash to do these transactions?
So for example, if you're trying to transfer 100K worth of money anywhere, you need to have about 2-3 days for the bank to process your request. So with say for example a cryptocurrency, depending how fast the network is, it could be less than 5 seconds. And then the fees wise, so for crypto it could be, I don't know, it could be $2 or less than that actually, depending on which network. It's a bit like email accounts. Everyone can own a crypto wallet, and you can keep cryptocurrency, and this enables you to do transaction anywhere if the person is able to receive it.
Is it safer than using real cash in any way?
There's a lot of ways to scam people.
So it's safer for scammers.
No, because if you think about it, cryptocurrency are typically peer-to-peer. So you need to know the endpoint, right? For example, I need to trust you that you gave me your right wallet and transfer to you. So I think that is how safe it is. But in terms of network-wise, it's quite safe.
That makes sense, that makes sense. Moving on to a question that I've been meaning to ask all day. How do NFTs work? For example, like profile pictures, right? I could just right click and save as, and I have the photo on my desktop. Why is it important to own the NFT for that profile picture rather than me just saving it to my computer?
So NFT actually basically stands for non-fungible token. It's actually a token. You can tokenize a lot of things to showcase that you actually own this. It's about ownership and the authenticity of it. But that doesn't mean that you are granted with IPs or full rights to it. NFT is, they have their unique data set, but cryptocurrency-wise, if you were to exchange one Bitcoin with another one Bitcoin, they are fungible because they share the same value. But if you were to exchange with like one NFT with another NFT, they will have like different values.
So is a token kind of like a certificate of ownership kind of thing?
Just like you own a house and you have a title deed, a token represents an asset, most commonly a digital asset. And it can prove that, you know, you own that asset because of blockchain tech.
But it doesn't stop people from like downloading a picture or anything.
Yeah, but you can, I mean, you could
can't
also
sell that
Yeah.
photo. Is that what that means basically?
They can illegally. It would be illegal. Yeah.
So non-fungible really means unique. Actually, it's really about the ownership. So like, if I own this, when I sell it, people know that it's real. And I think this is why people are using NFTs for anything that requires like proof of ownership. NFT token, even if transfer from one wallet to another, you can check the provenance of it. So I can see where the NFT go to which wallet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything is traceable because of the blockchain technology.
All right. Now that we know a little bit more about cryptocurrency and NFTs, we're going to be doing a deeper dive with a little game I like to call Fact or Cap. The paddles that you're holding, again, have a green side and a pink side. Green means what I say is a fact, and pink means it's cap and therefore not true at all. All right, crypto is not real money and cannot be used in real life. Fact or cap?
There are actually a lot of available crypto credit card, debit card. For example, crypto.com. What they do is they work closely with merchants like Visa, MasterCard, and then for example, they use whatever crypto that they already bought, they convert to fiat using the merchants like Visa, MasterCard for purchases. So let's say cashback, you can maybe like cashback or rewards back in crypto, but on like a traditional level, you just get normal rewards that is non-crypto. Over time, merchants like Visa, MasterCard or whoever, they will definitely come in and work closely together with exchanges, cryptos to, you know, provide that facilitation of transactions.
It's getting real, people.
Yes.
It's getting real. Speaking of currency, do you think crypto will be the new world currency? Fact or cap?
I see that because I'm so involved in regulation space. I think the challenge is that a lot of government overseeing this thing, and cryptocurrency they're trying to regulate cryptocurrency as much as possible. So I'm not sure whether, like, although we can really spend Ethereum and Bitcoin all over the world, but for mass adoption, I think that the government they have their own currency, right? The fiat currency. Right. So I think there's a bit of like that tension there that I'm not sure whether like this could be like legit in other countries, but I think eventually it will. But right now, I'm still having like a wait and see kind of situation.
You went full just like cap, it's not going to be a new world currency. Why do you think that?
Yeah, I think it's tough for the governments to accept. With that reason alone, I think it won't become, you know.
I wouldn't say fiat will be long gone. Definitely won't, because you still need that. And plus the government side, they will need to do a lot of, I don't know, some sort of approval or things to look at when it comes to cryptocurrency. Like look at Singapore itself, they don't even like allow people to market anything crypto. And lots of companies are struggling with that on how to, you know, bring on board more non-crypto users. Give people the impression of it's like making quick bucks when they see crypto. So I think that's the message that the government does not want the companies to go out. But I feel that it will be a form of alternative for people to choose.
All right, next. Crypto or NFTs are harmful for the environment. Let's go to you, Jay. We haven't heard your voice in a hot minute.
I think at the moment, the high consumption of electricity needed to solve these complex mathematical equations. It is harmful to the environment, of course. It's not helping, but we're looking at other ways, alternative sources of energy, like hydro. That would greatly improve, or greatly lessen the effect we have on the environment.
It depends on the way they do the consensus. So proof of work is extremely high energy, unless you're able to translate that out for Bitcoin, and then it is possible. But I think for Ethereum, they are shifting to what they call a proof of stake that will require less energy. Then I think that's something that the cryptocurrency industry is trying to work towards too. There's of course a new project coming out that claims to do very little energy. So I think we are seeing this kind of innovation in the space.
Crypto is secure and it is unlikely for you to be scammed. Fact or cap? 3 halves.
This part is to the first part of the question. Is crypto secure? I would say yes. Bitcoin has been around since 2008. It has not really been hacked. So I would say that the network per se is secure, but this is because of human error. Because that's the part that a lot of people are getting scammed these days, and they do not need to be like very technical. But of course, in terms of infrastructure, if you're doing cross-chain, or we call it from one chain to another, there's a lot of technical issues at the moment. We are talking about a single chain. I don't think we have a big issue. Ethereum is pretty safe. Bitcoin is safe. So that is why it's like this.
If you're talking about bad players, everywhere has bad players or bad actors.
Like where there's money to be made, there will be scammers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crypto is primarily used for illicit activities.
Yes, people do use it for illegal transactions. I foresee government will slowly step in and you will no longer be anonymous with your wallet address, because they will be questioning, okay, the amount that you're transferring to who is this person and what's your relationship with them, and then yeah, that's what CoinHardcore is doing now.
Agree. Yeah, because on that part that they need to track, right? I think about 2-3 years back, the Financial Task Force for the global world asked for this thing called the travel rule, where it's a bit like our SWIFT network. So from transfer from A to B, they need to know who's the owner of the wallet. So especially for companies who are going through regulation, they need to comply to that. So I would say the majority of like 80-90% of the transactions happening on centralized exchange that will have to do this for their users anyway. So I think it makes it really hard. And sad to say, guys, actually Bitcoin is trackable. Any thoughts about
that's
it?
the beauty of blockchain, right? It's the traceability, transparency.
Yeah.
And whenever you buy crypto, you have to submit your identity. Whenever you change crypto to cash, you have to reveal your identity as well.
Crypto or NFTs are a way to get rich quick. Why do you think that is a fact?
Because it is possible, but just as easy as it is, it's a gamble. As easy as it is, to have high rewards, like high returns, there's extremely high risk as well. You could easily lose what you earned overnight in the next hour. It's because of how volatile the markets are.
Is that why you're halfsies on it?
He's on point. It depends on the skill set of the person. Like it's like Forex or any other money making, e-commerce, right? Like whether you have the skill set or like the right network to make it happen, and like the ability to have the right insight to the market.
You can actually make a lot of money if you have the right connections and you know people in the space. For example, in NFT projects, they are usually the same few group of clique of people, but if you're inside, you have insider news, definitely you know what's going on and how to manipulate it and stuff like that. As someone new who's coming in to trade, and you expect quick earnings and stuff, not really, unless you follow the news and know what's going on. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a quick money game.
It's best to look at it at an investor's point of view, where it's more of the long-term strategy. In crypto, it's like 3 years, maybe, but of course,
very long.
Of course, longer if it perhaps 10 years, and then as things develop and people start to adopt this technology and adopt this cryptocurrency, naturally your holdings would increase in value, and as compared to a trader's point of view, where you would be trading like on a day-to-day basis or like every week.
Fact or cap, NFTs is only for digital art.
Like the most popular kind of NFT are called PFPs, picture for profile, but there's so many other uses that NFT, can be applied to. What if we utilize blockchain, create an NFT, the title deed as an NFT, and so that it'll be more secure and harder to, replicate or forge. It could act as like a membership card or like an access pass to like experiences, in real life.
NFTs protect artists. Fact or cap?
Yes, I think it does because, of the blockchain, it would guarantee the royalties would come to you when it's been traded. As an artist myself or musician myself, I do feel like I'm empowered with this new tool.
On his point, I agree, because if you're a creator in the NFT space, I think OpenSea only charge about 2.5%. So like imagine you're earning way more than in the traditional sense of thing. But I think my challenge is for blockchain, it's really rubbish in, rubbish out. So whoever put it on the blockchain, the blockchain doesn't really like protect you. So I think this was an issue when NFT first started. Like a lot of people were just doing digital pieces of like they take a picture of a famous art and then they try to sell NFTs. I think we need actually regulation to come in and like short this part of things, the IP rights. So I would think that at this point of time, I do not think that they will protect in that legality sense.
All right. Last statement here for fact or cap. NFTs are easily copied, so it's worthless. Fact or cap?
Because they can't be copied. You could take, if we're talking about like PFPs, if you were to, save as, the JPEG or the PNG, how are you gonna prove that that's yours?
You don't own the token to it.
Yes.
You're getting it?
I'm getting it. Oh my God. Because what has the money is the token itself, not necessarily the profile picture. Am I
Yes.
getting that? All right, now that we've talked a little bit more about the different sides of cryptocurrency and NFTs, do you think that more people should get into it?
They should minimally try it out for themselves to understand what this whole thing is about. I foresee this will be the next technology that will be adopted by the masses eventually, but need to be educated on how to go about it.
How do you envision, crypto and NFTs in the future?
I think right now the key concept recently is the metaverse, right? They say I think cryptocurrency, NFTs, gaming will all create a digital world that we live in. I think in the real world we are seeing actually more adoption in the corporates, because I think with the blockchain space, they can actually reduce a lot of this transaction or like information gathering and like information passing on to somebody. So I think I will see that happening concurrently.
Do you have any advice to the viewers out here, new investors, new traders, on like what they should do before getting into crypto and NFTs?
BYOR.
Do your own research.
Yes.
A lot of acronyms. A lot of acronyms in this space. That's what I would say.
I would say that you can, it's easiest to learn about crypto when you buy crypto. But that being said, treat the experiment, treat it as like a weekend money, like $100 in, and then you know what is cryptocurrency. But other than that, really do your own research. It's way more risky than your total, I guess. Yeah.
Join community groups. Yeah, that helps you educate. I mean, there's one local one called Chain Debrief or something. Then there are lots of blockchain crypto groups where traders constantly talk about market, timing the market and stuff like that. Yeah.
Or NFT communities. I'd suggest that because there's so much opportunity here in this space, like the best way to learn about it is to actually get a job and like work in a role that you think you might fit, because there are a lot of Web 2, the current job that you're in and your expertise, your skill set can be easily transferred to a Web 3 kind of job role, or in crypto or NFT space. And so that's the best way to learn.
All right, well, we've reached the end of this episode of Chatterbox. I hope you've heard at least a little bit, or like me, a lot about cryptocurrency and NFTs. Is there any last things you guys want to say to our audience?
Wag me.
Wag me, guys. We're all gonna make it. See, we're all learning here today. I'm your host, Isabel. Tune in for the next episode of Chatterbox.